Hey guys, it's Joe from Mojo's Pizza, and today I'm going to be giving you the ultimate guide on how to use a wood-fired oven. Let's go. Right, so this is our wood-fired oven. It's an Inferno Vulcan Plus made by Skillcraft. They're up in the Midlands somewhere. We dealt with a guy called Dave. It's a brilliant oven. This is what we upgraded to a couple of times after our uni. So about the oven, if we work from the bottom up, you've got the stones down here, which are pretty thick. What you'll find in the beginner ovens like the unis and stuff, the stone is pretty thin, but the thicker the stone, the better really. So you've got the stones down here. All of this up here is insulation, which keeps that heat in, which is what you want, because again, with the smaller ovens, you lose the heat pretty fast. So you want that heat to stay in there, especially if you're sort of doing a pop-up where you might not have a pizza in for half an hour. You want the heat to stay in there. So that's what the insulation's for. So that whole section there is keeping the heat in, and also underneath as well. We've got a little temperature gauge. I would ignore that if you've got them, because that's at the front, and you want an infrared temperature gauge just to see how hot your stones are. So yeah, it's good, but I wouldn't sort of trust it. The shape of the oven gives us that rolling flame over the top, which is what you want. So the stones are there to cook the base of the pizza, and then the flame rolls over the top to cook the top. So you want a good balance between the heat underneath and then a good flame over the top, which we're going to light the oven in a minute and show you exactly what you want. And then you've got the flue above, obviously for the airflow, to get rid of the smoke. So let's light the oven and see how it works. So before you start, you want to make sure that any ash is cleared out from the last time you cooked. Make sure it's clean. Never put any water on your stones, because it's not very good and it can cause cracks. So we've got this scraper that we just scrape everything out, get right in the back and just clear the oven out as much as you can. If you've got gaps in the stones, I wouldn't worry about it too much. You can always push them about if needed. It doesn't really matter. Now we always build a fire in the middle. You can do a teepee, you can do, I sort of normally build it up with like a square, so like a lattice sort of formation right in the middle, because you want the embers to be hitting each stone, because then they will conduct the heat all around the oven. It doesn't have to be neat. And then once you've got that built up, you can use fire lighters, you can use whatever you want, but make sure not to use softwood. You need to use hardwood, because softwood has resin and stuff in it, which will cause smoke and a nasty taste to the food. Again, this part, you can do it however you like really, as long as you get the kindling lit, and you need to keep good airflow. Don't just do a pile of wood, because you'll get loads of smoke and not a lot of fire. Another tip is make sure your wood is as dry as you can keep it. Again, wood that's got a lot of moisture will give off a lot of smoke, and you want to try and keep the smoke to a minimum. And then once you've got a fire going, you can keep topping up with some kindling. But again, make sure you keep gaps for the airflow. Now at this point, we just need to keep feeding the fire, and it is easier to do. It is easier to do like a teepee, like shape, but the key is to keep that airflow going around. But don't smother the fire. So at this point, there's gaps around it. If I load up loads of kindling now, I'll get loads of smoke, and it won't be as effective. And the oven, what you want to get is the stones. We normally work around 400-500 degrees. I'd say 450 is a sweet spot. This oven takes probably an hour to get up to temperature nicely. And the whole point of this part is to heat these stones up. So as long as the fire is touching each stone, it will conduct through the stone and get the oven up to temperature. So at this point, we've got a nice bed of embers building up. Again, the last thing you want to do is smother the fire and put stuff on it, because it will just smoke and it's not as effective. So we've got some bigger pieces of kindling. Because we chop our own, we can control the size. So now we're going to put some bigger pieces on. Again, keep that airflow going as much as you can, and it keeps the smoke down. You'll have loads of smoke if you add the wood. Again, if it's wet wood, it's going to smoke, or soft wood, don't use soft wood. And just keep gaps for the airflow to keep going round. And at the moment, we've got no smoke coming out of our flue, which is what we want. So now, at this point, we can start adding smaller bits of wood. We use ash and birch. I think you can use oak as well. I think kiln dried hardwood is what you want. This is birch. It burns really, really well, really high temperature. And the ash, it lasts quite a while in there. It doesn't sort of burn and disappear. It keeps those embers going. So at this point, we can start adding these smaller logs on, making sure that we don't smother the fire, and just build it up over a bit of time. Don't rush it, otherwise those stones won't be hot enough. Another tip that you can take is to put some bits of wood just at the side, and that will warm them up just before they go on the fire, which can help dry them out if they are a bit wet. Right, so at this point, the fire's been going for a while and the stones are warming up nicely, and we've got this nice bed of embers here. So we push the fire back. Normally we push it, it doesn't matter where we normally go in a corner. So we've got 4 stones, and we normally take one of the back stones for the fire. It's nice for the clients to be able to see the fire. So it doesn't matter what side it goes, but we're going to push it back to this left-hand corner. So we've got this tool here. You just push the fire back. Into the corner. Try and stack the wood back and keep that airflow as best as you can. It's always quite messy. And then we've got a brush tool as well to brush it all over. And then it's always a good idea to get another bit of wood on the top. This is an old turning peel that we've got, which we use to put logs on at this point. And then give the stones a good brush. And then we're nearly ready to put a pizza in. You can wrap like a towel or a cloth around a turning peel like this, and then give the oven a good wipe. But we find that the brush does a good enough job. So once you've pushed the fire back, it's a good idea to let it build up again and start getting that rolling flame over the top. So you can see here now we've got this flame starting to roll over the top. So when the pizza's in, you've got the hot stones and you've got the flame cooking the top of the pizza. This back stone is used for the fire, and we can fit 3 pizzas in there comfortably. What you don't want is any of these embers coming over to these stones, because they'll get too hot and you'll end up burning the base before the top's done. So while Ollie's finishing off that pizza, we can see now we've got a really nice rolling flame over there. We've got a nice fire built up there, and we're ready to launch a pizza. So now we go in with the pizza at the back. Don't mess around with it, just a nice swift movement and it'll come off. Use a bit of semolina underneath. And then what you want to watch is this corner here. You just want to watch it rise and make sure it doesn't char too much. You want a little bit. But now we should have the stones cooking underneath and that rolling flame cooking the toppings. Now we really gently want to get in this first time. There's no rush. Turn the pizza. So here we can look underneath. We can see that this side hasn't had much, so we can keep rotating the pizza. If the base is cooking too far, you can lift it up on the peel and just let the fire work the top, or angle it towards the fire as much as you need to. and then just keep moving it so it doesn't catch. And then that's one pizza done. So when you're finished with the oven, although these are still going, so it's not the best time to do it, but just to show you what we do is we use this same pushing tool just to spread the fire out. So if you've had any sort of holes in your pizzas or anything like that, this is like a way to clean your oven. You spread them all out all over the place. And this will clean the stones, and it all pretty much fades away into nothing anyway. And then the next time you come to use the oven, you've got clean stones and then just a little bit of ash to clear out instead of having a big pile in the corner. You see how hot the oven is in that corner, it's red hot. And again, we've got no smoke coming out, which is what we want. Red hot in there. So yeah, spread them out and then just leave that to cool. Doesn't take long at all. So that's our video, and that's our guide on using the wood-fired oven. If you've got any tips to add or anything that you can leave in the comments, feel free to chuck them in there. We will be doing more videos on temperature management and how to use turning peels and all sorts like that. So make sure to subscribe, and then you can see our upcoming videos.